Ego is the anesthesia that deadens the pain of stupidity. Let that settle for a moment, my friends. Ego, that loud, overconfident voice in their head telling them they've won, that they've got you figured out, that you'll come running back any moment now. Ego is the shield they hide behind when the truth feels too sharp. But the thing about ego, it can't handle silence. It can't stand the weight of not being fed. And today, I'm going to show you how the quietest thing you can do, the simple act of disappearing, becomes the heaviest weight they'll ever carry. The weight of your silence doesn't just unsettle them, it crushes their ego day by day, inch by inch, until they're left standing in the rubble of their own overconfidence. So before we get into it, go ahead, smash that like button, subscribe if you're ready to dig deep into stoic power, human psychology, and the silent strength that flips the entire script. We're building something unbreakable here: emotional discipline, mental resilience, and that quiet force that shakes the world without making a sound. Now, hey folks, imagine this with me for a second. Picture a massive steel bridge, stretching across a canyon, strong, sturdy, built to handle anything. Cars drive across it, people walk over it, and the bridge stands tall like nothing can touch it. But underneath that steel, one small crack begins to form. You can't see it. No one hears it, but day by day, with every passing weight, that crack grows, until one day the whole thing collapses, not because of the weight of one car, but because of the weight that was never addressed. That's what your silence does to their ego. It doesn't break them all at once. It doesn't come in shouting, screaming, demanding to be heard. No, it starts like a whisper, but that whisper becomes the crack that splits the steel. Their ego, my friends, is that bridge. It looks strong on the outside, but it can't hold under the weight of being ignored. They've been fed a lie. Maybe you have too. The louder you are, the more they'll respect you. The more you explain yourself, the more they'll understand. The more you chase, the more they'll appreciate your effort. But that's the lie that keeps people stuck, folks. Stuck in patterns of proving themselves, stuck feeding someone else's ego while starving their own worth. The truth? The one they never told you? The loudest message you can send is silence. The heaviest weight you can place on someone's ego is nothing at all. And today, I'm going to take you through that process, how your silence day by day starts to crush their ego, how it forces them to face the one thing they've been running from all along, their own reflection. Because here's what most people don't understand. Ego hates a void. It can't stand the silence. It needs to be fed likes, messages, reactions, validation. But when you walk away and leave that space empty, the ego suffocates. It starts asking questions it never wanted to ask. Am I not enough? Did I push too far? Are they really gone? And while they spiral in those questions, you stand tall, you hold your ground, you let the silence do the work. And I know, my friends, this isn't easy. Silence feels heavy on both sides. There will be moments you want to reach out, to explain, to break the tension. But remember this: discipline is doing what's hard, not what's easy. Discipline is choosing power over comfort. And right now, your silence is the most powerful thing you've got. It's not passive, it's active. It's the weight that will crush their ego without you lifting a finger. So let's anchor this together. Drop this in the comments right now. I am the weight. Say it loud. Say it proud. Show yourself. Show the world around you that you are not chasing. You are the force they feel even when you're gone. And don't forget, hit that like button, subscribe, and stay with me, because we're just getting started. The ego doesn't know it yet, but it's already cracking. Day 1. The ego laughs. They think they've won. Ego is the only requirement to destroy any relationship. Be a bigger person, skip the E, and let it go. Let's start right there, my friends. Day 1. The battlefield is quiet. They're standing tall, ego inflated, chest puffed out like they've already won the war. You've gone silent, and in their mind, they're still the conqueror. They think they've got you pinned. Game over. But here's the truth they haven't faced yet. This isn't a game you're playing. This is a lesson, and they haven't even opened the first page. Picture this. Imagine a lion standing in the middle of a field, roaring, showing its teeth. It looks powerful, unstoppable, but lurking in the grass, silent, unseen, is the hunter. The lion can't see it, can't hear it. It thinks it owns the land. But the silence of that hunter, that's where the real power is, because the loudest roar means nothing when the silent force is watching, waiting, moving with purpose. That's you right now. Day 1, they think they're the lion. But you're the unseen hunter. Their mind right now. Oh, it's peaceful. They've convinced themselves that you'll be back, that this silence is temporary, that you're just trying to get a reaction, playing hard to get. And why wouldn't they believe that? It's worked before. Maybe with you, maybe with others. Their ego thrives on patterns. If you've always come back, if you've always been the one reaching out, they expect the same rhythm. But this isn't about keeping the rhythm anymore. This is about breaking the entire cycle. Let's crack the first lie they're holding on to. That silence means surrender. That you're quiet means weakness. That's what they're telling themselves. They'll be back. They always are. But here's what they don't know yet. This time is different. This silence isn't empty. It's full of power, full of meaning, and it's about to become the weight their ego never prepared for. See, folks, the ego plays tricks. It tells them they've got control. It keeps them comfortable, but comfort is the enemy of truth. Right now, their mind is like a castle with walls high and strong, but those walls were built on sand. And your silence, it's the tide that's going to wash it all away. Not today, not yet. But the tide is coming. But let's not forget, this is hard for you too. You feel the pull, don't you? The need to check if they've noticed. To break the silence, just to remind them of your presence. Maybe just a little wave, a like, a comment. But that's where the real test begins. Because this silence, it's not about them, it's about you. It's about learning to hold your ground when every part of you wants to fold. That's why this is called Stoic Power. Not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Let's throw in another image for you. Imagine a chessboard. You've made your move. You've pulled back. And now, it's their turn. But they're staring at the board like the game's already won. They don't even realize that your silence was the move. And the longer they sit, the heavier that waiting becomes. Their ego tells them not to move. But silence is patient. Silence waits. And eventually, they'll realize they've been sitting across from someone who knows how to play the long game. This is where the fear hasn't set in yet. But trust me, it's coming. Right now, they're comfortable. But that comfort, it's false security, the kind that crumbles when reality hits. And that reality is this: you're not playing anymore. You're walking away. You're letting silence do the work. So, here's where I leave you today, with a question. Can you hold this line? Can you resist the urge to feed their ego one more time? Because day 1 is about setting the tone. It's about planting the seed. And the seed you've planted with your silence? Oh, it's going to grow into doubt, into fear, into something they can't ignore. But you've got to hold your ground, because the ego, it laughs at the start, but it won't be laughing for long. Let's anchor this together, folks. Drop this in the comments right now. I am the unseen hunter. Say it, own it, show yourself. Show the world that you are no longer the lion roaring for attention. You are the silent force that moves with purpose. And stay with me, because tomorrow, that first crack in their armor begins to show, and it only gets heavier from here. Day 2. The first doubt. Why haven't they reacted yet? Silence is sometimes the best answer, but the ego hates that, doesn't it? The ego demands answers, demands noise, demands attention. And here we are, day 2, where the first whisper of doubt begins to creep in. Not loud, not obvious, but like the faintest crack in the foundation of their confidence, the silence that seemed harmless yesterday. It's starting to feel just a bit too quiet. Imagine standing in a dark forest at night, my friends. You hear a twig snap somewhere in the distance, just one tiny sound. Your mind tells you it's probably nothing, a rabbit, the wind, but you felt it. And now, you're listening a little closer. Your heart beats a little faster. That's them today. Your silence, it's that snapped twig. The first small disturbance in the pattern they thought was safe. And their ego, it's trying hard to convince them nothing's wrong. But the mind? Oh, the mind has started listening. See, yesterday they were sitting comfortably on the throne of their assumptions. They'll come back, they told themselves. They always do. But day 2, that throne doesn't feel as solid. They've checked their phone once or twice. Not because they're worried, of course, just out of habit, just to see. But that little voice inside, it's asking questions they don't want to hear. Why haven't they reacted yet? Are they really just busy, or are they walking away? But ego steps in. No, they wouldn't do that. That's the conversation happening inside them, that tug of war between ego and doubt. And your silence, it's pulling harder on that rope every second. Let's break a lie right here, folks. They've always believed that you need them more than they need you, that they could pull back, go quiet, create distance, and you'd be the one rushing in to fill the space. Because that's how it's always worked. But here's the truth they didn't prepare for. This time, you left the space empty. And that space, it's starting to get uncomfortable. Imagine a beautifully set dining table, the plates polished, the wine poured, everything perfect. But the guest of honor never shows. The longer that chair stays empty, the heavier the absence feels. That's your silence. It's not just absence, it's presence. A presence that fills the room without making a sound. And today, on day 2, they're noticing that empty chair. But they won't admit it. Oh no, they're not ready for that yet. They'll distract themselves, open their phone, scroll mindlessly, post something on their story, a meme, a selfie, a quote about self-growth, or moving on. But who are they really talking to? You know the answer. That's bait, my friends. Bait for you to break the silence. They're casting a line, hoping you'll bite, hoping you'll respond, give them back the control they're losing. But here's what you've learned. You're not the fish, you're the ocean. Let me ask you something. What happens when you expect someone to show up and they don't? At first, you brush it off. No big deal. But then, the clock keeps ticking. And that absence? It starts to gnaw at you. That's where they're at today. They're brushing it off on the surface. But underneath, that clock is ticking louder. And you've got your own battle too. Don't think I forgot about you. Day 2 is when you feel the itch. You wonder, is this working? Should I just check their story, see if they've noticed. Maybe you feel the pull to just reach out. But remember this, your silence is not about playing games. It's about reclaiming power. It's about standing your ground when every instinct tells you to move. This isn't easy, but nothing worth doing ever is. Here's a metaphor to hold on to. Imagine a sculptor carving a statue from marble. Every tap of the hammer seems small, insignificant. But over time, those small taps shape something powerful. That's your silence. Every moment you hold back, another tap, another crack in their ego. And here's the thing, they can't stop checking now, not completely. Their pride won't let them reach out yet. But the doubt? It's whispering, it's growing, it's asking questions they don't want to answer. So let's anchor this, my friends. Drop this in the comments right now. I am the ocean. Say it loud, say it proud, show yourself, show the world that you are vast, deep, and unbothered, that your power doesn't come from chasing, it comes from holding your ground. Stay with me, because tomorrow, that whisper of doubt, it's going to get louder. Their ego, it's about to start feeling the weight, and the cracks. Oh, they're just beginning to spread. Day 3. The weight presses down. Am I losing control? You never really know the strength of your silence until it's the only thing left holding the line. Here we are, day 3, my friends. The point where the silence that felt like a small breeze yesterday begins to press down like a heavy fog, thick, suffocating. This is where the real tension begins to build, not with words, not with confrontation, but with the quiet weight of your absence growing larger in their mind. They thought they were in control. They thought they had you pegged. But today, that belief starts to slip through their fingers. Imagine for a moment a dam holding back a river. For days, the pressure builds behind it, quiet, steady, unnoticed. The surface looks calm, the structure seems solid. But beneath that, the water presses harder and harder, looking for any crack, any weakness. And on day 3, the first fractures in the concrete start to show, small, barely visible. But that's their ego right now. On the surface, they look fine, posting their usual stories, laughing with friends, playing it cool. But underneath, the pressure is building, the cracks are forming. Because here's the thing, they've gone 2 days without hearing from you. 2 days of assuming you'd break first, that you'd come crawling back like before. But today, the doubt they've been brushing off starts knocking a little louder. It's not just a whisper now, it's a weight pressing down on their chest. Why haven't they reached out? Are they really done with me? Am I losing control? The ego fights these questions like a boxer trapped in the corner of the ring, swinging wildly, hoping to land a punch. But the silence? It doesn't swing back. It just is. And that's what makes it unbearable. It offers no fight, no reassurance, no validation, just space. Space where their control used to be. Let's break another lie while we're here. They told themselves you'd be the one to fold, that you needed the connection more than they did, that your attention, your affection, your presence, it was their choice to accept or reject. But now, on day 3, they're facing a truth they didn't see coming. You're not there to give it anymore. And that absence, that's becoming a mirror they can't avoid. Let's paint a picture. Imagine walking into a familiar room, the place where every piece of furniture, every decoration is exactly how you remember it. But now there's an empty chair, the same chair where someone always sat. At first it's just noticeable, but as time goes on, that empty space starts feeling heavier than any person could. The silence around that chair becomes louder than the conversations that used to fill it. That's the space you've left in their life. And today, that space is starting to feel heavy. Now, they might not admit this, even to themselves. Oh no, their ego's still got a little fight left. They'll tell themselves, it's fine, they're just